Hello everybody, welcome back to another Conversations with Projektor. Today we start with what music do I listen to? Before I go, you can contribute topics for this series on my Discord server.
Out of curiosity, what music do you listen to on your own time? Do you listen to any darker stuff or morning stuff, any other genres? When it comes to my music that I like, you can go in, where is it? Here, and you can go to my Spotify artist page, and then you'll find Psychedelic Favorites, which is the playlist that features all of the sounds that I use both as reference tracks, but also the stuff that I just listen to on the daily driver. It's a pretty extensive playlist, as you can see, but it's all somewhat in the region of the music that I currently make. So there's a lot of Asterix in there, there's a lot of Outsiders in there, some Avalon, some Ace Ventura, name a few others. There's some Tristan stuff in here, Bliss. I've been listening to Bliss more and more recently, because what he's been making in the last year has been really doing well. Or at least I really like it. Another thing that I want to shout out is Transformations 14. This is a very good compilation. I already had a lot of those tracks in here. I guess the first one here is this Chaos. And then as you can see, slowly I added one more and another one and another one. And then I was like, I have 5 of the tracks from this collection in my playlist. I should just listen to all of them and see whichever one I like, I'll just add to it. And then I did that. And as you can see, I just added the whole thing. Because they're all good. They're all very nice.
Differences in synths.
I've been wondering, should I buy Faceplant or Vital? Anyone has any good reasons what is best for hard dance? To be honest, I don't know hard dance. When it comes to Faceplant, this is the kind of synth where you're going to spend a little while making your patch. If that's what you're into, then do that. Vital is an instant pickup because it's free, right? So you're not buying anything unless you pay for the full version of Vital, which I have. I would also recommend that if you just want, all of the wavetables and you want the text-to-speech limitation removed. And just having that can get you some cool results in terms of sound design. But to be honest, if you want to buy one synth, demo a few, see which one works best, and then go for that one. I got Vital Pro, not worth it. I do think it's worth it. I do. I've had plenty of times where I would try something like a wavetable or a text-to-speech thing that I wouldn't have been able to do if I did not have the Pro version. When it comes to the text-to-speech, you don't necessarily have to use the text-to-speech for text-to-speech. Like, it's an excellent wavetable generator. Awesome, but how do they differ from Serum? They each have their own sound and workflow. Like, I can tell you about the modular workflow of Faceplant, but you should be able to see that on the screen, right? And Vital, the difference between Serum and Vital is fairly technical, but it basically boils down to Vital uses a spectral engine, which means that it generates each harmonic individually, I believe, up until a certain point. It's not quite additive synthesis, because additive synthesis goes throughout the whole synth. So if you take a synth like Harmer, that is essentially throughout the whole synthesis part, up until the effects, up until you get into stuff like distortion and the reverb and the delay, which is almost like an outboard effect for the synth. Up until that point, it is additive, meaning that it's not technically generating audio yet. It is just generating information, which then become harmonics that emulate the settings that you have set up in the synth. This is all very technical, right? When you're just messing around, you don't actually have to know this. Vital, I believe, does a very similar thing in that for the oscillators themselves in Vital, for this bit over here, it is spectral in nature. And that means that you can do stuff like this, where you have random amplitudes. I don't think there's really a good way that you can do that without a spectral engine. And that's obviously not just the random amplitudes, but it's all of the different things that you're seeing over here. These all work based on spectral manipulation, I think. Might not be the case for this stuff over here. This might already be outside of the spectral engine, because this is FM and stuff. That's normally not done with spectral processing. But the rest of it is just like a normal subtractive synth kind of deal. Whichever version you have, get Projektor's Vital side pack, it's awesome. Thanks. Yeah, you should get that. That is a good acquisition. And if you have Serum, I also have 3 packs for Serum.
My headphones need fixing.
The strap on top of my headphones, they broke. You can see there's no longer a strap on here. So this is just hard plastic on my head right now. And this is also broken. I have it in my Amazon wishlist thing already. The things that I need to fix my headphones. But it has basically completely broken right now. It's getting a little bit annoying. That's maybe the reason why you see me sometimes fiddling with the headphones. I think I've had this broken for like a good month now. I just did not have the time. Usually when it comes to buying stuff on Amazon, one of the things that I take into account is, am I going to be home for a long stretch of time? Like, don't I have anything to do for a long stretch of time? From the 4th of June up until the 6th of June, I'm going away. And then probably after that, I have just enough time between then and Burning Mountain, which is at the end of June, that I'm just home for a while. And there's never really a day where I'm not home. The reason for that is here in Italy, there's basically no guarantee that people show up when they say they do when it comes to package delivery. Like when you live in the Netherlands, they say like, okay, we'll pass by that day in the morning or in the afternoon. Usually it's like the next day or something like that. Here in Italy, it can say like, okay, we're passing by tomorrow, and then it takes them another week to actually pass by. Which headphones are you looking for next? I'm not replacing the headphones. I'm just buying the strap and the ear caps. That's just like $5. I'm not replacing my headphones. You can take off these caps here on the side. So right here, you see where it's like 2 lines. You have this thing here, and then you have this bit over here. I can take off this bit around here, which is what this is attached to. And then for the strap on top, you just get yourself a strap that clicks on top of here. That is just going to sit there, essentially. I'm not going to replace my whole headphones just because a strap is broken that I can easily replace.
My new shorts format.
Did you guys see the short today? More distortion, more distortion, more distortion.
Let's rank the Nordic national holidays.
No thanks, I'm busy.
More distortion. More FM. More distortion.
I really like that one. That one came out very well. It's a new format that I'm trying out, where I just sit down for 5 minutes, try to sound design something from scratch, and then chop it up and edit it up. Usually I didn't do that because when it comes to that kind of stuff, with the shorts, because it's limited to 1 minute of time, it's often hard to show the whole sound. But I'm just going to go in there with the approach that I don't necessarily have to show the whole sound. That at the end of the day, shorts are for entertainment. I highly doubt most people who watch my shorts sit there and actually remake the sounds that I play in the shorts. So I'm going to focus on either individual tricks that you can implement in your own sound design, or just entertaining people with funny things that I find while sound designing for 5 minutes. And in this case, it was like, oh, more distortion, more distortion, more distortion. The amount of distortion that I put on one sound, even though at the end, the sound that came out wasn't really all that distorted sounding.
My monitoring setup.
You got new studio monitors, but you still prefer headphones and use them only sometimes? Question mark. That's phrased pretty strangely, but I think I know what you mean. You're asking if it's either or, right? Like it's not all and, the way that you... Either way, when it comes to headphones versus monitors, right before the stream today, I decided to put in my headphones. When it comes to mixing streams, you guys will hear me play the track and then play the whole thing. The reason why I cannot do that in Ableton is because of delay tails and the way that my microphone cuts off based on the desktop audio when it's playing. So when there's a delay tail, it will cut off my microphone. But when it comes to that, you guys see me with headphones a lot when I'm producing on the stream. But that's the only time that I wear headphones. Anytime else, I'm on studio monitors. Even when like checking mixes afterwards, I don't really check my mixes on headphones anymore. I'm completely comfortable with referencing and that kind of stuff to just use my monitors. And yeah, I might still make some mistakes. I know for a fact that there's like one track that I mixed that was overly bright. Eternal Garden is a little bit on the bright side. And that's okay. At the end of the day, that's part of the learning process. when it comes to getting monitors. That was the first track. I started that mix before I got my monitors, and then I finished that mix when I got my monitors. So I was in the process of transitioning from my speakers to my monitors, which is about the worst time that you can do a mix. But it had to be done. We had to get some music out at that point. Yeah, right. I think headphones make your fatigue quicker. Speaker is pleasant. I think the amount of fatigue that you get is a little bit dependent maybe on whether you're using headphones, but mainly on the volume. I never really get painful ears when or even irritated ears when I'm producing because I'm monitoring very, very low. One, I have neighbors, and the place where I'm in now especially, I have neighbors on all sides of me. Like I have them below, I have them right there. There's neighbors behind this wall over here. This is drywall here. Do you hear? Does that pick up on the microphone? So there's people that live behind that wall. I think there might be another drywall in between, but it's not much. There's not like a big sturdy wall in between that is keeping the sound out for them. So I just cannot put the volume high when it comes to my monitoring. And also, I just really don't like it. I don't really care for it. And I want to protect my ears. The best way to protect your ears is to lower the volume. I don't have anything that I can use as like a dB meter, or at least an accurate one. I can use my phone, but I don't think that that's very accurate. So I wouldn't be able to tell what my actual like standard monitoring level is, but it's not very loud. Poor neighbors. So no, not poor neighbors. I just leave the volume low enough that I never get any complaints from it. Because I've told them, like, I'm a musician, I make music for a living full time. And when I got in here, I still had my speakers, but I told them, like, I'm planning on buying monitors. And I didn't really, like, test it, but I said, like, if at any point in time you guys get annoyed with the amount of volume that I'm putting out through my speakers, feel free to talk to me. I'm open for that kind of stuff. I don't want to be a nuisance to anyone. So for that reason, I just keep it low. So without having a soundproof room, your neighbors never complain. So I think the case is that there's a drywall on this side. And then there might be another wall behind that. Because over here on this side, this is also drywall. And I think the whole thing is drywall here. And because this is like the ceiling is over here. If I zoom out maybe. Yeah, you can just about see the ceiling right here in the top of the screen. You can see where the ceiling hits. So that ceiling or the roof kind of continues that way. So there's like a crawl space on the side, I guess. And I think that means that there's also a little bit of room in between. You can advertise your music by putting high volume on speakers. Let them hear your masterpiece. Yes, I could, but I would like to save myself from getting any sort of complaints or fines or whatever, or getting kicked out of my apartment. To be honest, I don't need the advertisement that much. But yeah, that is something. So there's two reasons why I keep a low volume, I guess, on my monitors and also on my headphones, by the way. I'm not really playing the music very loudly. One is, as I said, for my neighbors, and the other one is just to protect myself so that if this does continue being an aspect of my life, being my job, being the thing that I do, I can do that for as long as possible without actually damaging the one thing that I need to do this job. A lot of things about music production, I don't think you guys realize how much stuff changes about music production once you get to do it full time. It is really crazy how over the last 2 years, my life has changed, my ways of interaction or simultaneously the ways that I interact with music production also have changed. I should say, as my life has changed, the way that I interact with music production and the way that I think about different things in music production has changed as well. Like before, 2 years ago, my YouTube channel was my hobby, and now it's my full-time job.
Why I don't do challenges anymore?
Why are you not doing sample challenges anymore?
One of the reasons why I stopped doing the challenges is I used to do them on Sunday. So I used to alternate feedback streams and challenge streams. And at the end of the 3 months that I did that, the feedback streams would have 15 to 20 viewers always actively participating by submitting their music and that kind of stuff like we have now. And the challenge stream would have 2 people joining in with the production.
Serum 2.0?
Never bought Serum, still holding out for version 3. That's a long ways away. We're not even on version 2 yet. He did say he was working on it, but At this point, we haven't had an update from that since the beginning of the pandemic. At that point, he said like, okay, I'm working on something new, and people were speculating, and I think it even got confirmed that it's coming, but we haven't heard anything in a while, and that usually isn't good news. Yep, it sounds like a while away. I'm sure if sales are still good, they're thinking, why bother? I mean, at this point, almost everybody already has Serum, so I would assume that at some point they would want to, you know, have people buy the new version of Serum, right? So that they can actually get some more income. Because I think when it comes to products like this, I mean, I know for a fact when it comes to digital products, the moment that you release a product is where you make the most money. Serum V2 is a free update or a whole new synth? I guess it will be a whole new synth. Otherwise you wouldn't spend years working on it. I wonder what the stats are on new people getting into music production. I think it will be more and more every day. Of course, it's very few people, relatively speaking, right? To the rest, or to the amount of people that don't get into music production. But nowadays, more and more people are exposed to the technologies of making music. And I think for that reason, more and more people are picking it up. That being said, though, most people that pick it up probably won't buy Serum anymore. Like, Serum is an old synth nowadays. It is old. It came out like 10 years ago, more than that even. And second of it, it's not really suited for the kind of music that people nowadays make, which is mostly hip-hop and stuff like that. So I guess people will probably look into different plugins specifically designed for that kind of genre.
Steve Duda said Serum 2 would be a free update.
I haven't heard about that, but I assume that it, after years of work, that he would have people pay for it. I would highly doubt that we would just give that away, but we'll have to see when it comes out. We don't have a beta, we don't have a release date, we don't have nothing yet. I suppose what Serum does have going for it is the huge amounts of presets available. At this point, also Vital has that. I guess that doesn't really matter at this point anymore. It used to be the case back when dubstep was really popular, that really Serum was the only plugin that you could use for that. But nowadays we have so many options, and as I said, new synths are coming out. Synths that just do it better, synths that are maybe more CPU friendly, maybe synths that are just a little bit better designed, maybe synths that employ new synthesis techniques. All of that stuff is coming out by the day. Is Duda in development of the Serum version 2? Where has you heard Hi is in development of this? I have no idea what you're saying. I'm sorry. I mean, I know the first part is Duda in development of Serum version 2? Yes. He said that somewhere on the Discord server, maybe? But it has been either leaked or he has confirmed it somewhere. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's like full-time development or if it's an on-off project. I think, to be honest, when it comes to Steve Duda, he's probably still harking in cash from Serum 1. Like from the first version, because it's so successful. And obviously he has every right to. He has no obligation to continue working on the synth. Only if he wants to. But there were some either leaks or confirmation from him directly that he is working on something new.
My secret music stash.
Yeah, I'll put on some music, of course, so that you guys have something to listen to during the break. Yeah, I'm not going to play that track yet. The track that I've made today, the video that I made today, the tutorial, I guess. That track, I wanted to play it maybe, but I'm thinking of keeping that track also in the part of my album, which is never going to be featured on my channel before I release it. So I'm making videos on them, and I'm playing like individual parts of the track, but you guys will never hear the whole track before it actually comes out. And there's a few tracks that are like that. Like this one over here, the one that I'm going to play, I've played that many times. I use it in mixes, I use it during breaks and stuff like that. And of course, it has featured in tutorials as well. But I'm going to keep a few tracks. There's maybe like 3 or 4 tracks right now that I have finished that you guys have never heard before in like the full length of the track. I'm going to keep it that way.
Don't rely on bad gear.
Make it sound good on bad headphones is a thing I've been doing. Personally, I don't agree with that philosophy. There are some of those speakers where you just hear the mid-range, right, in the studios. What you'll often find is that they're not the only speakers in the studio. And there's a very good reason for that. Generally speaking, you want to be able to hear what you're doing accurately so that it translates well to most systems. What is the problem with making it sound good on bad headphones is that it only sounds good on those headphones. And most of the people that are going to be playing your music aren't going to be listening to those headphones, to your music on those headphones. At the end of the day, when you're making art which is meant to be consumed by other people, you want to make it so that it translates well to the most amount of systems possible. And the way that you do that is by having the clearest idea of what the sound is actually doing. And the only way that you do that is through proper monitoring of the sound that you hear. Now, of course, there's going to be some prerequisites to this. So one of the assumptions that this makes, though, is that you're writing music for commercial purposes, I guess, like releasing it, bringing it on the market for people to listen to, which at the end of the day is the same thing. That is a commercial thing, but maybe specifically for that. When you're writing your music like that, you want to make sure that everybody gets to enjoy the music, right? Because if people turn on your music, it isn't mixed properly and it sounds bad on their system, but it does sound good on your system. At the end of the day, if it sounds good on your system, but it sounds bad on everybody else's, it doesn't really matter that it sounds good on your system, because your system at that point is just giving you the wrong information. So I would be cautious with that approach. Like, as I said, there are those studio speakers that only have mid-range, so they have no lower frequencies, no higher frequencies. And the idea of that is that you can hear how a track is going to sound maybe on a phone speaker or on a worse Bluetooth speaker. You can emulate the systems maybe that aren't as properly balanced, that don't have a lot of low frequencies, that don't have a lot of high frequencies. But you shouldn't mix on those. You shouldn't assume that that is the only way that people are going to listen to your music. And if you exclusively use those for your mixing, then that is essentially what you're doing. Those things should be like an extra tool and not your main workhorse monitors or speakers for mixing or even creation at that point. Because most people nowadays just bundle that stuff together in electronic music anyway. Not me though.
So that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you did by leaving a like and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Another way to support the channel is by watching some more of the content on it. So there will be 2 videos up on the screen right now for you to choose from. So just pick one and enjoy, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.